All right, guys, I just wanted to let you know today is Cyber Monday. It's also the last day to get entered to win our 335i here.
This thing turned out absolutely epic. Every dollar you spend on the site is an entry to win this thing. Don't sleep, get those entries in today.
Great Mickey. Sounds good.
Sounds really good. So we're gonna see what it's all about.
Jesus.
Well, that's
I'm pretty sure I got freaking whiplash.
It's gonna be that kind of party. Let's send it. Traction control off.
Dude, it sounds so good.
Damn!
Oh my god!
We got it. It took us a while to get 65.
Yeah, 65.
Wow, dude. Well, that was impressive.
This is freaking smooth, bro.
Yeah, we did this.
Oh my god, this is so smooth.
Yeah, I really like the blow-off valve.
Dude, it sounds really good.
So HKS GDM blow-off sounds with the Euro car. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I had this same setup on my wagon and I loved it. So
no, and I like how quiet the car is inside, but even though it's quiet, when you step on, you can hear the exhaust clearly, and it sounds so smooth and so good.
And what's cool is it retained cats, and it has the factory BMW midsection. The only thing is we basically cut off the muffler and put straight pipes off of the X pipe, the factory X pipe. So you're just gaining a little bit of sound.
Woo! This sounds good.
Man, whoever wins this is going to be pretty pumped.
For sure.
It drives like a a regular street car, which is exactly what we were able to accomplish with the Evo.
Right.
And even the WRX before that.
And now this one.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
This carbon-tastic steering wheel feels carbon-tastic. Later, bud.
And some of the good things about BMW is like every BMW that I get into, whether it's the M3 or something like this that's been slightly modified, that it still feels like a stock car. It's quiet, but it's so much power. Like the cars that I get into that has this much power, they're so loud and everything vibrates and you hear everything.
It's just not fun to drive, right?
Right.
It's like so raw.
Right. Not for a daily for sure. If it's something you take into the track or a weekend drive, it would be cool. But this thing you can literally drive every day and be just as comfortable with it and still have all the power banner with it.
Anyway, I think we built an awesome car. It's time to park it in the shop. Now let's talk about what it would cost for you to build something like this, which, man, I keep saying we built the ultimate daily driver, but then we do it again.
And again.
All right, guys, well, we're back here in the shop. One of the things we like to do after we conclude a build-up like this one is actually go over what it actually costs to put something similar together if you were to take on this project by yourself in your garage. So I'm gonna run through the whole car right now and basically give you guys an idea of what each component cost for us to purchase and apply it to this car to build what we think is the ultimate 335i. So for us, we really wanted a 335i project. The N54 engine is very sought after. It's an inline six twin turbo, provides a lot of great usable horsepower, and they sound amazing. So we picked up this e92 from auction. All in, we're at about $5,000, which is a really great price for this particular vehicle. However, if you guys have been watching all the videos of this car, you saw how bad it looked when we started. The interior was completely destroyed. The exterior was absolutely horrific. So we did end up spending about $12,000 on paint and body for this car, just to get it looking sharp on the outside. So in order to get this thing looking a little more spicy, we actually threw an M3 front end and rear end conversion on it, as well as the side skirts. This all came from Keys Motorsports, and to get all these bumper pieces, it's about $1,300. So to really modernize the look of what is normally just a mundane E92, the M3 bumpers do the trick. And for $1,300, we thought that was a small price to pay, knowing that we were going to be sending the car off to paint and body. One of the most noticeable things we did on the exterior was the wide body kit from Street Fighter LA. This kit comes in at around $2,300, but it really gives the exterior a very strong presence. To add to the width, we actually added a front lip in carbon. This is called a GT4 front lip. We had to make this fit, so it wasn't a direct bolt-on, but we made it work. This piece comes in at around $720. All right, let's head over around to the side of the car where I can show you guys a few more of the things that we added. We tossed these on. These are about $100. We found these online at a BMW source, so these were really cool, and they added a nice touch to the exterior to keep the carbon fiber theme going. We also added the Hre Wheels and Falcon FK510 tires. These wheels, as you guys know, HREs are pretty expensive. These came in at around $9,000 for the wheels. The tires came in around $1,100 because we are running some really wide rubber on this car. And behind these HRE wheels, we have a lot of footwork going on. So we've got ST coilovers. Those are about $1,350. They're fully adjustable and dampening controlled. And we also have Brembo brake rotors and Akebono pads. That came in around $800. And even further inboard, we have a full M3 control arm upgrade, and that was about $730 for all of those arms. But it really gives a nice crisp ride quality and a more aggressive stance because those arms are just a little bit longer than what we would have had on a normal E92. And to add some privacy to the interior, we spent about $300 on window tint at Tint World Miramar. It turned out fantastic. Around back, we put our own straight pipes on, as you guys can see here, utilizing some vibrant 3-inch stainless steel. And we added a Lions Kit diffuser. This is made out of fiberglass. We've made our own custom bracketry to mount it, and we think it adds a really nice look to the rear end. The Lions Kit diffusers are around $300 to $400 depending on which one you choose, and they are available for sale on throtl.com. One of the other things we did to upgrade the exterior look is we added these taillights. These are around $350, also available on throtl.com, and they give the car an LCI look, which if you live in the BMW world, that basically means Koki, which is the JDM word for late model. Gives it that late model look without actually having to rewire your taillights using the LCI BMW lights. Moving back around front, because it's open, I forgot to mention it, but we have a carbon fiber Sabon hood. In fact, let me show you this thing. It turned out really great. It has sort of the E46 style or V8 style hump on it. What I liked about this hood was the aggressive hump, and I like these air extractor vents here. We left those carbon to sort of tie in all the carbon bits on the car. Again, Sabon makes a great product. We do sell these at Throtl, so if you're in the market for a carbon fiber hood, check them out. Okay, well, moving on to the engine bay. This is where Ricky and I spent most of our time. There's a lot that's going on in here. There's a lot of parts that we removed, and it looks a little bit different than your traditional BMW N54 engine bay. To kick things off, we started with a Evolution Raceworks charge pipe and an HKS Super Sequential blow-off valve. This is a really simple mod to make these cars, and it adds a great sounding blow-off valve to the equation, which these cars need, I think. It gets rid of the two factory blow-off valves, which you don't really hear, and adds that very iconic HKS blow-off valve sound. That costs around $520 for that spec'd out the way we have it. Hooked up to that Evolution Raceworks pipe is our Mishimoto intercooler, and we also have a Mishimoto radiator behind that. And the biggest upgrade that we made in this engine bay visually is going to be the Turner turbo side intake system. And basically what that did was eliminated our factory airbox and moved a lot of equipment in this engine bay in order to get our intakes over onto the turbo side of the engine bay. This kit is really cool, very complete, and comes in at around $1,500. It's something that's not all that beautiful or fun to talk about is all the miscellaneous dollars that we spent on hoses, couplers, seals, water pump, all these other miscellaneous things that are in here that you don't really take into account. We spent about $1,500 to $2,000 additionally on all those little things throughout to make sure that this thing is mechanically sound for the new winter. And last but not least, in our engine bay, as always, we have our Downstar hardware. You know we use that on all our builds, guys. We've got about $100 in hardware in here, as well as their new aluminum oil cap they made specially for us in orange, which is super cool. These are not available yet, but when they are available, they will go for about $70. There's a few other items in here that you guys don't see when you look at the engine bay, and two of the most important things are our twin turbos from Vargas. Those are about $2,000 and they are buried, so we can't show those to you. But if you watched our video series, you'll have seen us install those. They are sweet, and they take up the same exact location as the factory turbos. They just make more power. To go along with those turbos, we added a high pressure fuel pump, and we also upgraded the O2 sensors. We spent about $1,400 on those items together. We also replaced the water pump and all of the coolant lines in this car. We spent about $1,200 or $1,300 just on that alone. But having a brand new water pump and all new rubber hoses in here will make us all sleep better at night, knowing that you guys are gonna have a great car to drive should you win this one. All right, well, now that you guys know what's going on under the hood, let's move on to the interior where you spend the majority of your time. All right, guys, well, if you saw the first video with this car, you can tell already that we spent a load of time in this interior, making it nicer and something that's livable for the new owner. We went ahead and started by basically replacing everything in the interior. We headed over to Straight Six up in Oceanside, California, where they were able to supply us with all new door cards, all new seats in the back, basically everything to make the interior of this car feel like a new car again. And it does do that. So we spent about $1,400 just on panels and stuff in here, and we think it turned out fantastic. Now, taking that even a step further, we spent another $1,400 with them on these seats, and these are out of a BMW M4. These do bolt directly into the chassis of the e92, which is a huge plus because you're not drilling the chassis, you're having to do extra work to make them mount. However, they don't plug into the e92 wiring. If you guys search back through our previous videos, Ricky did a whole video on installing these. What's pretty cool is he was able to make them work as though they came in this car. Even the M logos light up in the backrest of the seats, which is pretty trick. So we're really happy with the way this turned out. It really modernized the interior of this car, and the seats feel great. In order to spice up the interior even further, we picked up a carbon fiber trim, and we had it professionally installed onto the factory parts at a local body shop here. We spent about $675 on getting it re-clear coated and applied to our existing interior. So we think it turned out great. It really adds a sporty touch to the interior, and it goes along really well with our carbon-tastic steering wheel. We picked this up from the boys over there. It's custom made for this car, and these come in around $1,400. But this is something that I think is so important to our builds because it's a touch point. And touch points are very important anytime you're building a car because it's what you are in direct contact with and you're looking at it all the time. So if you don't spend the money there, I think you're making a big mistake. This steering wheel is epic, and it makes this driving experience just that much better. In order to tie the other bits to the steering wheel, we added a Suede shift boot as well as the Suede e-brake lever cover and boot as well. And these have gray stitching, which really looks nice in this interior. It matches the gray stitching on our M4 seats. So again, really picking things that work together in the interior to make it feel like this is the way that the car came, even though it's actually quite removed from the way it was when we got it. And moving on from there, we actually spent about $200 on getting this headliner suede wrapped. So I did this myself here, which saved us a lot of money, and it turned out fantastic. It looks great, and again, it ties the roof in with the steering wheel and the boots and everything like that. So suede, carbon, leather, you can't go wrong. And to complete this driving experience, we added a BAV sound system. And now BAV Sound is known for their BMW sound system upgrades. Basically, it bolts into your factory speaker locations and basically gives you a premium sound out of what would normally be a base level sound system. So we're really happy with the way that turned out, and it utilizes the factory head unit, which is super easy and very turnkey to install in your home garage. Moving on from there, we added a brand new set of BMW floor mats. Those are about 150 bucks. And we added the BMW M Sport pedal set. Okay, now guys, aside from all of the big stuff that I've already mentioned, we spent about another $1,000 in clips, trim molding, stuff like that to round out this build. And I haven't already mentioned that today is the last day to get entered to win our 335i that you see here. Head on over to throtl.com, buy some merch. We've got all these new items available, including this flannel with the cool trick tag underneath. So go check those out, get some car parts. Whatever it is you spend on our website, throtl.com, every dollar is an entry to win this thing. So go spend now, get your friends' car parts, get your own car parts, get yourself some merch, get some merch for your chick, whatever it is, we don't care, but get those entries in. I hope I'm handing you the keys. So to answer the question of the day, if you were to try to replicate this build, you'd be looking at about $55,000 to build a car very similar to this. Now mind you, that doesn't include my labor hours or Ricky's, and we've got a lot of time in on this thing. If you were to add that into the equation, you're probably looking at around $70,000 to drop a car off and have it built to this standard and spec. So if you want to save yourself some money, start wrenching at home or in your garage and order your parts from throtl.com.